particularly I want to welcome anyone who hasn't been to the centre before. So you might be coming for your first time, you might be coming for the Mitra ceremonies, so a really, really warm welcome to any friends and family of the Mitras to be this evening. I forgot to say, my name is Triratna and I'm co-leading the day with Satchamanas here. And my job is mainly to welcome you and also to do lots of thank yous. So this day, couldn't have happened without a lot of people offering their time and their energy. And also it could have happened without all of you. That's all of you here and all of you online. So I want to start by really thanking all of you for showing up and for helping to just create the atmosphere that we've created today. We've been meditating, we've been reflecting, we've had a wonderful talk from Parinirvana, and it's just been a really rich day. So I want to thank all of you, and I also want to thank you all for bringing such a scrumptious lunch. That's really important, and the lunch was great. So thank you for bringing lunch to share. So I'm going to say a few thank yous to different people who've helped on the team today. So I want to thank Oscar and Edoya, Harvey and Annie, Nina and Greg, Alex, Dee, David, Ruby and Connor have all been on the team. And I want to thank Katrine and Ruby and Fred for making the shrine. And I just want you to know that they were here till early this morning making the shrine. So it's a real labour of love. And it really shows because it's really enhanced our day. And then I'd like to thank Parinirvana and Danny, Thomas and Oscar for cooking us dinner. And I really, really appreciated the attention to detail, the limes, the chilli, which meant that the paper plates hardly got noticed. So thank you very much for adding those little things. They make all the difference. And then I want to thank Parinirvana for his talk, which I personally felt very moved by. I felt this sense of both my faith being roused and the sense of the subtlety of what he was communicating, the perfume of that. So if you did miss that, that will be available on our YouTube channel. You can catch up with that. So do listen if you missed it. Also want to thank Satchadasa. He did a workshop on legacies just after the talk, so thanks very much for that. And I want to thank Michael, our star organiser, who has been working really hard before the day and then continued to do so on the day. So really, really big thank you to you, Michael. It's just run really, really smoothly, so I really appreciate that. And all of you that have also stepped in to help with washing up. I just saw Danyutar with the dustpan and brush. Thank you. Just everyone who just steps in and makes a difference. And then I want to thank Satchamanas, my co-leader, and I've really enjoyed doing the day with him and really appreciated the workshop that he led this afternoon and also the meditation this morning. And you're going to be doing the puja. And then I'm going to thank myself. Always a nice thing to do. I've really enjoyed the day, and I've just enjoyed offering what I've offered to you, and I hope that you've enjoyed the day as well. So what we're going to be doing is, in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Surya Gupta, who's going to say a little bit about this evening and the Mitra ceremonies. And then she'll hand on to the Mitra conveners, and they'll do something which they'll let you know about. And then they'll hand on to Satchamanas, and he'll tell you about what's going to happen then. So it is quite a long evening, but in the nicest possible way. Here we are amongst friends, and we're going to be celebrating. How many of you are there? 60, 14 Mitras. Mitras to be at the moment, but soon to be Mitras. So what a wonderful occasion to be celebrating. Okay, so I'm going to hand on now to Sophie.
So Thank you very much, Shradagita, for a really lovely introduction. It's fabulous to be here with you. Really good to be here with you online as well. My name is Suri Gupta. I'm the chair of the London Buddhist Centre, and I really loved coming into today. It's been a really warm, rich, beautiful environment to come in, and I think you could see by the way Shradagita welcomed us this evening, what she and Satchimanus have brought, and everybody actually that you've also mentioned brought to today's gathering. So as Shradagita said, we are going to be having 14 Mitra ceremonies this evening, and I will say a bit more about that in a moment. But I just want to say this is a very special day in one of the most important festivals in the Buddhist calendar is Parinirvana, which we've been celebrating all day. The day when the Buddha, the person who discovered the pathway to enlightenment, when he sort of passed on, as it were, when he, in our language, when he died. We also technically, when he passed into nirvana, and we sort of celebrate. That's a very important day for us. And we're also marking it because we're marking the teachings that he communicated, and an essential teaching of impermanence, of change. And it's a day that anyone who wants to live more fully, understand the life that they're having, needs to understand impermanence, needs to understand what this truth of change is. So we're celebrating the day for that. But I just really loved walking into the day for the shrine. It's like our wonderful backdrop, but it's also an anchor for us. When we look at the shrine, we sort of reconnect. We connect with beauty. We connect with possibility. We connect with growth. All of that is there, in the shrine. And the way, as Shradagita said, all the people that have been part of creating this day, that have made it happen. We connect with community that we can't practice without other people. We need other people to make it real somehow, to make this pathway possible for us. So I want to thank Shradagita and Satchimanus, all the volunteers, the cooks, anyone that shared. It's lovely coming in, to this atmosphere. And at the heart of our evening, we have these 14 people are declaring themselves to be Buddhists. They're saying that they want to discover more what the Buddhist path is. They want to live their lives as Buddhists, and it's a very auspicious step that our 14 friends are taking this evening. So a very warm welcome to you and to your friends and family, those of them gathered as well. And it's a great day to to declare yourself a Buddhist on Parinirvana Day. I say this often, but it's a day I became a Mitra. And I was very pleased to become a Mitra on this day, because whilst all the festivals are all significant, this one, for me, having become a Mitra, I really reflected on this day a lot. It's obviously we're celebrating the historical Buddha, 2,600 years ago. He discovered the pathway to liberation, the pathway to freeing ourselves from suffering, not temporarily, but fully. So he discovered this pathway, and he successfully passed the teachings on to others. So they discovered it for themselves as well. And it's described like he was this great sun. His presence was like a great sun that warmed people, but also illuminated. Thinking of the sun, it's got energy, it's got light, it's got warmth, even fire, right? So that energy of fire, that sort of intensity. So that was the presence of the Buddha. That's the effect he had. And obviously he passed on his teachings, and people were able to discover the truth, that illumination, that warmth, that energy for themselves. So hugely significant. And then, how many years after teaching, he dies. And it's hugely shocking, because somewhere in people's psyche, I think they must have thought that he's fully enlightened, he's fully liberated, somehow he might escape the thing that we fear, Yeah, somehow it would be okay for him. But he's by his passing, he shows that no, it happens to him too. He's a human being. He was a human being, and so he too was subject to change. He too was subject to old age and sickness. No one escapes it. So we heard in Padmavajra's talk today that his passing was a teaching in itself. But it was a beautiful passing, a beautiful experience, his whole passing, the way it happened. The whole occasion was deeply inspiring, deeply moving, deeply illuminating the process that he went through as he prepared to leave this earth. And so his actual death, if you like, his passing into nirvana, is a teaching for us. He's saying no matter who you are, it applies to you. Change will happen. Sickness will happen. Old age might happen. Death will certainly happen. But it can be beautiful. It can be meaningful, because in a way he was showing that his life, the way he lived his life, had meant something. It had a huge effect on so many other people. He'd helped others change. So somehow his passing was a gift, really, because his life had been a gift. And his life had been a gift because he'd understood the teaching of impermanence. He'd realised that, the truth of it, the profundity of that. And it's a very simple truth. That's why I think I like it particularly. It's a very simple truth. Everything changes. We know that, don't we? We know it intellectually. Everything changes. Everything, comes into being, will pass away again. We sort of know that, but deep down we resist it. Deep down, we don't actually want to deal with it because of the implications of it often. So we don't want to think that, something we love is not going to be there one day. We definitely don't want to think that we might not be there one day. We just can't sort of come to terms with that. But what he's saying is, if we appreciate that, we come into relationship with the truth of change, bit by bit, inch by inch, moment by moment, it has a profound effect on our day-to-day existence. Because on a very simple level, we begin to appreciate just being alive. We begin to appreciate that, we're here together in this room right now. And this configuration is not going to happen again. So we can appreciate that. We can appreciate, like today, I practiced because it was Parinirvana day. I practiced being present to every activity I was doing, and not just multitasking. I practiced washing up and enjoying the washing up. I practiced drinking tea and only drinking tea. I practiced when I was speaking with somebody. I really practiced gosh, I may not see them again. Who knows what's going to happen? So let me take them in and let me appreciate who they are and that we have this interaction. So on a day-to-day level, it can completely change one's experience and make it much richer, much more meaningful, even much more beautiful. And we heard today again in the talk that actually love comes. Love comes when you realise, when you stop taking things for granted, ourselves and other people and our experience, there's a possibility of love. And there's a possibility of growth and change. Because if we take on the fact that change is deeply, is part of life, then we also know that we can change. We can actually alleviate some of our difficulties, all of our difficulties. We can alleviate that. We can expand who we are, and we can have a whole different relationship to life than we normally have, freeing ourselves from the kind of prison that we sometimes put ourselves in. That's what the truth of change does. So it's a great day to become a Mitra, because you're actually saying, our 14 Mitras to be, you're saying that you want to come into a relationship with these teachings in a way that's really going to enrich your experience, really going to help you live fully and embrace the possibilities of what life gives to you. And you're going to do that in company with others who are also on that journey. So, yes, our Mitras to be, I'm going to read your name so we know who you are. So it's Alara, Annie, Clemence, Ed, Freya, Harry, Irene, Kate, Leah, Luke, Trisha, Patrick, Jeeve and Talib. So everybody, isn't it? Yeah, wonderful. All becoming Mitras today, taking that step to really, to connect with their own aspiration, their own potential, to begin to realise more and more of your potential, to understand the teachings much more, so you begin to realise it for yourself, and you're doing that in community with others. So the ceremony is very, very simple. Just to become a Mitra, I'll just say that Mitra means friend. And so what they're becoming, they're declaring themselves to be Buddhist, but they're also saying they're going to be a friend to the order. So those of us in the order, those of us ordained, we've committed our whole lives to realising the Buddha's teachings for our own benefit, but also for the benefit of others. So you're saying that you're going to become a friend to the order, support the order, learn from the order. We're going to get to know you as well in different ways. So you're part of this project that the Buddhist Centre's engaged in by helping out and just connecting with each other, becoming a community. So the ceremony will happen. I'll call out your names one by one, and you'll then make the 3 traditional offerings. So they'll offer to the shrine a candle, and the candle represents the Buddha jewel, and in a way the light of enlightenment, the light that dispels ignorance, darkness, that represents the Buddha. Then they're going to offer to the shrine a flower, and the flower, beautiful flower, it represents the fact that you can, if you understand that the flower, you understand the teaching of impermanence, you know that the flower is not going to last forever. So you enjoy the flower whilst it's there, knowing it's not going to last forever. So it's a very simple symbol of the teachings of the Buddha. And then you have the incense, which represents the Sangha jewel, which is the community that we're learning from, the kind of ideal community who have realised the truth, but also the kind of gathering, the fact that we need to journey with other people on this, to be encouraged and supported by others as well. So that's the incense. So they'll make one by one the 3 traditional offerings, and then sit back down, and we'll continue until all of them have become Mitras. And then we'll mark that in a traditional way when it comes to that point. So I'm delighted to be witnessing our 14 Mitras to be tonight, in this very, very auspicious step in your journeys, and we're all going to be supporting them as they make the offerings. Thank you. Handing over to conveners.
Hi everyone, I'm Kusala Sara, and I'm going to be introducing you to 3 of the Mitras to be. It's such a nice part of my role here at the London Buddhist Centre to kind of witness this entry of these people into the Mitra Sangha. So I'm going to start with Kate. Now, Kate, do you want to just wave so that everyone knows who you are? Thank you. Yeah, so some people, when they decide to become Mitras, that they sort of know immediately, and that's like, yes, as soon as I can do it, can I please do it? And some people really take the thought of becoming a Mitra away and consider it, and sometimes consider it for quite a while. So Kate, I met Kate about 4 years ago, and that's when you first thought about becoming a Mitra, and realised it wasn't quite the right time for different reasons in your life. And it's so nice to see that Kate's carried on going on retreat, carried on taking practice really seriously, and like considering the step of being a Mitra, which means, what does it mean to think of oneself as a Buddhist? So Kate's gone away with that and applied it to her practice, and so we have her here tonight ready to make this commitment. So I've found Kate to be very thoughtful, very intelligent in her inquiry about what practice is and how it applies to her life. And I think she's got a great deal of integrity, which we can sort of witness in how she's taken this decision to become a Mitra. Kate says that she first came to Buddhism, or came to the Buddhist Centre as a response to health conditions related to anxiety, and found, I'm going to quote her here, she really responded to the community at the Buddhist Centre, and she found a resonant, credible authority in the Dharma teachings. And she also mentions the effect that her practice has been noticed by her mother, who's here today, and mentions a new kind of gentleness. So I'm really, really pleased to be introducing you to Kate. So the next person I want to introduce is Irene. Do you want to show everyone who you are? And Irene also came to the London Buddhist Centre quite a long time ago, and she first came along and realised she wasn't quite ready to hear the Dharma, but it was there in the back of her mind when she needed it, and then she re-engaged over the past few years. And I found Irene to be very, very thoughtful as well about applying practice to her life. When I first met up with her, she'd read everything, she'd been on many courses and retreats, she really, really knew the Dharma, and I just had this sense that she would always come back to it. There's a sort of quality of faith with her and a steadfastness that I'm really pleased to see that's going to be expressed in this commitment as well to being becoming a Mitra. So I'm delighted as well to have Irene, to be introducing Irene. And she says she came back and it was through yoga that she got more involved in our Sangha the second time. And she said she was looking for an approach to life that was real and could sustain her quest for truth, and that she's found it here. So great that you're becoming a Mitra today, Irene. And then the final person that I'm going to introduce is Annie. So do you want to show yourself, Annie? Annie came to the LBC about 4 years ago after a sort of much longer exploration of Buddhism. As is often the case, difficulties sort of made her engage more deeply in practice. And I've really enjoyed meeting up with Annie. I think she's got a very lively mind, so we've been recommending that she reads different things, and she's always got lots of questions and very stimulated by the material of the Dharma, which I've really enjoyed. I also noticed that once I was doing some online teaching, and I asked her to come and join me and talk about a retreat, and she was very, very open and unnervous. So I enjoyed Annie's warmth and friendliness and ease of engagement with people, as well as this. She said to me that when she read Not About Being Good, which is Subhadramati's book on Buddhist ethics, it was the most important book that she's ever read. So really how this, she's allowing the Dharma to inform the way that she lives her life. Yeah, Annie says that what she's really learned is the rudimentary truth of the Dharma, that we cannot bend life to our will, and trying to do so will cause suffering. So I'm really pleased that Annie's becoming a Mitra as well today.
Turning circle. Okay, so I'm going to introduce 5 of the other women. So I'm going to start with Trisha. So Trisha was born in Bethnal Green and actually used to play in this building when it was a fire station as a child, which is amazing. And actually, meeting up with Trisha, this building has quite a mythic, symbolic place for you, as it does for lots of us. And it's been such a delight to get to know Trisha. I've just feel like I've witnessed how you've just been steadily committing yourself and just taking the next step and taking the next step. And it just seems like your practice is very straightforward. You can see what you need to do next and then you do it. And it's not always easy, but you just put yourself behind it and you do it. And it's lovely as well. Last time we met, you were just talking about what you give to the centre. Tricia helps out a lot, and you take care of the building. Tricia comes and she cleans the building, she volunteers on the reception, really welcoming people, helping out on working retreat. So there's something quite sort of down to earth and straightforward about your commitment actually. So yeah, I'm really, really delighted that you're taking this next step. Okay, and the next person I'm going to introduce is Alara. So yeah, Alara's from Istanbul in Turkey and wrote this lovely, well, you described how it's where Europe and Asia meet, which feels very potent. Yeah, and you came along to the online winter retreat. You found out about the winter retreat, and then it started the next day, so you booked and you came on it, which seems quite sort of typical in a way of how you've engaged. You came on the summer retreat, and what's really stood out for me in our conversations is how much communication has affected you, how seriously you take communication, and how the Sangha jewel just seems to sort of shine brighter and brighter for you. Yeah, and there's a real depth and honesty in the communication with Alara. So Alara thinks very deeply, and there's a sensitivity as well in the communication. So yeah, you talk about the meeting the depth and honesty in relationship to the people here, but I really experience that in our communications as well. So yeah, I'm delighted that you're becoming a Mitra, Alara. Okay, and then the next is Freya. Yeah. So Freya's been coming along for a year, and yeah, Freya's made lots of changes very, very quickly. It was lovely. Freya's aunt is here as well, and was just saying to me how they hadn't seen each other over lockdown, and it's like she's meeting a new woman, how much Freya's changed. And what really struck me about Freya is there's so much enthusiasm and excitement for the Dharma, and it's lovely to come into relationship with. I met up with Freya once, and she was telling me about how she was so excited Mitra Bantu had come to a sub-25 seminar, and we talked about the Nimas, and she'd gone home to her flatmates and said, "Guys, I've got to tell you about this thing, it's the truth, and you just kept, and I was like, wow, Freya's probably it's really spreading the Dharma. She's a student, so of course the university students of London, so that's good, already an advocate. Yeah, and also telling Freya about when I was describing the Mitra ceremony to you about the 3 traditional offerings, I really remember your face just lighting up about that prospect of making those offerings to the shrine. Yeah, so I'm really excited for you as well that you're going to become a Mitra this evening. Okay, and I'm going to introduce Leia. Yeah, so I'm delighted that Leia's becoming a Mitra tonight. So I met Leia 7 years ago when she first came to the Buddhist Centre, and we were both 7 years younger and both blonder, actually, surprisingly. We're more natural colour now. Yeah, and I really remember meeting you, Leia. So significant meeting. No, I do really remember meeting you, Leia. Coming to yoga classes, and we made a connection, I think, quite soon. And what struck me about you was just how open and warm and friendly you are. You're really fun. We always have a laugh. You're really fun to be around. You've got a good sense of humour. In fact, I think in your statement you wrote that you came because the meditation classes were free and you love a bargain. But also, you do, yeah, who doesn't? But Leia also, you're a very serious woman, and you think very deeply, and you've thought a lot about becoming a Mitra. It's been a very, you've got a very analytical mind, actually. You've really thought about this from lots and lots of different aspects and taken it quite seriously, and it's been a long process for you. Yeah, and I've really enjoyed our conversations. There's a lot of depth, and I've really enjoyed exploring ethical practice from lots of different approaches, and yeah, how that manifests in your life with real decisions that you've been grappling with, actually. Yeah, and I think what's really come through is your Shraddha, actually, because it's a real sort of unification of your mind and your heart, and then tonight you're putting that into action tonight. So yeah, I'm delighted to see you becoming a Mitra tonight. Okay, so lastly, but definitely not least, is Clemence. Yeah. So yeah, I also really remember our first sort of one-to-one communication. I remember speaking to you on a weekend retreat. I think it might have been a yoga retreat. And actually, I was really surprised because you were telling me how you often are working with chronic pain. And I was just really surprised because you're so bright and warm and open and engaged. And I was like, wow, I was really impressed by you straight away, that often, it can be quite tiring actually, and it can make, chronic pain can naturally sort of make people a bit more intense. But I was really impressed by your sort of brightness. And it's interesting that you were saying that what's kept you coming back to Sangha is the warmth and the friendliness, because I really experience your warmth and friendliness and your and your brightness. And it's lovely. We were in a study group for a little while during COVID online, and I really appreciated your presence. Clemence is very thoughtful and considered, and you're not someone that talks a lot, so when you have something to say, it's worth listening to. And I really like the questions that you've asked about becoming a Mitra, and I know you've thought about your relationship with Bhante, and just very considered. And as well, what I was really struck by was how making this commitment has energized you. I've enjoyed our last conversations on the phone. Actually, it's really nice to see you in person. But how making this commitment, there's energy and there's something quite sort of unobstructed about that. So I'm really, really glad that you're following on that, and and you've got a lot to give, and you are giving in different ways at this centre and also at Croydon. So I'm really delighted that you're going to be becoming a Mitra and continuing that journey. Okay, so that's the women, and Dianata's going to come to introduce some of the guys.
Yeah, thank you. So, really lovely to be able to introduce the guys on this special occasion. So, let's. I'm going to start with Ed. So, stand up, give us a wave. There we go. There's Ed. Great. So, Ed is 25, and he did a biochemistry degree, and he works in medical communications. My experience of Ed, he's a very caring man, and he takes on responsibility easily as well. So, if you're ever in a group or an organisation with Ed, he's the man that you go to. He'll sort you out. He'll organise it. He'll organise the group. So Ed's very, very good at that. And I think that comes out of he wants to make a difference in the world. You really want to make a difference and help people. To do that, you're not afraid of challenge. I think you have overcome lots of challenges in your life and also in your mind, and you've realised that the Dharma, in a way, is the ultimate challenge, and you've wanted to sort of take that next step in the challenge, and you've come to like the meditation challenges that we do, quite literally, on the ones online. You enjoyed those, and that's what's brought you here. But you've really taken up that mantle of challenge and sort of gone for it, and so I was really delighted to see that this combination of qualities, your caring, responsibility, and the challenge that you've got as well. And what's great is that you, as I say, you wanted to commit your life to the ultimate challenge, the Dharma. So really, really good to witness that. That's Ed. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next we have Harry. Give us a wave. So Harry is also. Everybody's, by the way, in their under 30s. It's quite amazing tonight. So Harry is Ed's 25. Harry's 24. So that's brilliant, and that's already rejoicing in itself. And it is really great actually to come across the Dharma younger. I think it really does help in life. So really, really rejoice in that in itself. So it's great. Any age. But I'm just talking about these guys tonight. Everyone else is also welcome, So Harry is very friendly. I'm very friendly as well. So Harry is he's very friendly and creative man. He's actually a musician. So he's a man that takes life seriously, but also wants to make the most out of life using creativeness. And you teach children as well, don't you? Music as well. So you want to spread that creativity. And you came across the Dharma because you wanted to work with your anxieties. And again, you're someone who's just really thrown himself in. You've joined a study group and you've come on retreats and you've really, worked on yourself, worked on your mind, and you're sort of decided that you're ready to take the next step and to work even further with your mind and go even further with it. So it's really, really good to see that you sort of wanted to, that commitment and going deeper. You've just decided to really go for it. Again, you took a bit of time to decide, but when you go for it, you really go for it. And so it's really, really great to see you coming Mitra today. Okay, good. So now we come on to Luke. Stand up, give us a wave. There we go. And Luke, you're 23? 4. Luke's 24. Okay, good. Yeah, and Luke's a man, I think, with real range, I think. Got a real range. So Luke was telling me, I met him on the winter retreat, and he was telling me that he was, when he was younger, he was a ballet dancer, is that right? And an actor, and you also play American football. So real range of skills there. But I think that range also extends to your other qualities as well, because you, on the one hand, you're a man with lots of energy and positivity, and you're great to just have around from that point of view. But then you also you use that energy to help people and to go deeper in your own practice. So you have like a range of being like very energetic and present, but also you have a depth to that range, to that energy as well, a depth. It's because you want to take life seriously. So when you speak to you, it's sometimes a bit surprising, but you don't realise you've got this sort of depth. And I think that's because you've deeply reflected on life. You've had some tragedies happen in your life. You've reflected on those, and you've realised that it's the Dharma that, in a way, is the ultimate reflection. So you want to sort of use those reflections to take your life further with the ultimate reflection of the Dharma, and in a way use that energy more and more skillfully. And you've been very helpful on retreats, on the retreat that we did together. So really, really good. So yeah, great to see you coming Mitra tonight. That's Luke, and a few more to go. Good. So this is a great time at 14. It is wonderful. It is really wonderful to have lots of energy. So it's fantastic. And talking about energy, Patrick, give us a wave. So Patrick's full of energy. You're 19. So that's fantastic. And you. That's great. You wouldn't realise. Actually, you wouldn't even realise Patrick's 19 because he's sort of mature beyond his years. I think, and I think. And why you are is because you take responsibility. So you're a man that wants to take on responsibility. And I've seen you do. We were on the winter retreat together on the cooking team. I don't think you'd ever been on the cooking team before, have you? No. But you just it was as if you'd been on lots of teams before when we were on the team together. You just wanted to do a good job and wanted to take it seriously, and you wanted to learn. And after that one retreat, you then led a cooking team on the next retreat that you did. So you sort of see one, do one, teach one sort of thing. So it's really, really good to see that. And you can do that because you take responsibility seriously. You have confidence, and because you're a team player. You sort of want to work within a team. It's not just about you. It's about the Sangha. It's about working together, and you just in that way just a joy to have around. I just really think you're a joy to have around, and you're inspired. You're very inspired, aren't you, at the moment by the Dharma, by meaning in your life, and you can really see that it's coming out in your actions, that inspiration. And I think you've just realised that if you do want meaning in life, this is the way to get it, and you really sort of take that seriously. And it's great to see that you have found that meaning, that friendship, and a place for your responsibility, a place for you to help the world. So that's great. So Patrick. Good. Okay, good. So Rajiv or Jeev. Okay, so we'll start with your age. We'll start with, but you're also, anyway. Jeev, what I was struck by Jeev, again, I did meet you at the Sub-25 class, and you're really, right from the beginning, I felt you have this sort of confidence about you. Anyway, similar to the other people as well, you've got this sort of confidence about you, and I think it's a confidence based on courage. So you came along because you wanted to work on your mind, yourself. You were working with anxiety. I think you had some claustrophobia you were talking to me about, and but you knew that if you worked on it yourself, in a way, took responsibility for your own mind, that something could happen. And you really, really did that, and you kept coming along, and you dived straight into an intensive retreat, didn't you, as well, the men's intensive. And I think you just found out for yourself during that retreat that wow, the answer is within. The answer within. You can work on your own mind. You can free yourself from your own suffering, from your anxieties. And it really, really struck you. And you just had to keep coming along and finding out more. And not only that, but I think you was a man, a very friendly man, and you sort of you live with Jay. Where's Jay? He's there. Yeah. So he. That's great. And what when you're talking about. Very auspicious. You're a man you're a man that I think you want friendship to be the centre of your life, and you as well, and you take risks with your friendship. I remember you talking about friendship with Jed. I'm quite impressed how you really want it to work, and you just that courage and confidence comes through even in your friendships. And finally, I think you've seen, not only have you seen the Dharma, but you've also seen that sort of you're working as an accountant, don't you? And you've seen that some of that sort of work doesn't, isn't quite as inspiring as it could be. And you've sort of wanted to sort of more inspiring life, a life of meaning as well, sort of through that. So I think you've got both the inspiration and the will to sort of have a more meaningful life as well. So really good to see you becoming a Mitra achieve tonight. Okay, good. Finally, Talib. Where's Talib? There you are. Great. So Talib. So it says that on all the things. Talib is 23 and he's originally from Uzbekistan and grew up in the United Arab Emirates. And what happened you've had I think it's safe to say, quite a difficult life. And when you're 18, you just thought this is in a way too difficult, so you wanted to move out and try and make something of your life. And what's amazing is that you had that perspective even from an 18-year-old. You knew that there was something more to life that you needed to find, and I think you've been on that journey ever since. And I think you found it, and you've come here and you found that meaning. But it's because of your sort of search for it and your maturity, even at a young age, that you've sort of found. I think you've come across the Dharma, and you felt from a young age you felt the dukkha. Suffering in life, and in a way an existential suffering of like, who am I, what am I? And like a lot of people, you've turned to other things to try and get meaning in life. Cravings, we've all got cravings. You've turned to cravings, and you've realised, but what's amazing is you realise that craving actually leads to more suffering. So you've dedicated yourself to give up your cravings and in a way lead this life of courage, of meaning, and work on yourself so you can reach the sort of true freedom of the Dharma by doing that. And and I've really, really just enjoyed again you helping out with that spirit of trying to give yourself and give your life to the Dharma, and just getting to know you has been really, really, really wonderful. So I look forward to seeing all of you in the Sangha when you become Mitras. Congratulations, Sadhu. Thank you.
Good, so thank you very much to the Mitra community. It's very nice to have all 14 of you so nicely evoked. So we're going to have a 5-minute leg stretch now before we start the official ceremony. So last chance for you guys to escape. We have locked the doors. Feel free to do what you need to do. We'll be back in here in 5 minutes and we'll start the treatment.
Stay silent.
In silence, yeah. Okay, so let's start by saluting the shrine. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Sanghaya. Namo Namah. Namo Namah. Okay, so we're just moments away from these 14 beings to become Mitras, to take this important step in their Dharma lives. So we're going to do a sevenfold puja. So these are verses from a famous Buddhist text, I forgot what it's called now. Sorry, Tara, thank you. It's my first gig up here, so forgive me. And these are verses, they're very beautiful verses, they're quite poetic, and they, in a way, they evoke the journey. So you may be beginning to realise that you're about to embark on a very epic journey, more epic than Frodo's journey to Mordor, that may last several lifetimes, and you're in good company, but you need to start this journey on your own. So as part of the puja, the Mitras to be will be coming up and making the 3 traditional offerings, the candle, incense, and the flower, the rose. And these symbolise their commitment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. There'll be lots of bowing. If in doubt, just bow. And there'll be a chance for us to make offerings as well. So after the first section, worship, we'll be chanting a mantra evoking the Buddha Shakyamuni again that we've been reflecting on today. And I encourage you to come up in groups of 4 and make offerings of a candle or some incense in a way to start the ritual, really, and to set the atmosphere. And then something magical will happen, which Surya Gupta will officiate, and then the Mitras will have their first chance to chant the refuges and precepts as Mitras. The puja will end after some mantras, and we'll leave the Mitras on their own in the shrine room. The rest of us will go out into the mural room and close the doors and give them a chance to just absorb what's happened, just for a few moments, perhaps not too long. Because there will be things waiting for you as you come out. I'll leave that a bit mysterious. Good. Yes, I think that's everything. Shredita, have I forgotten anything else? Yeah, no, I've got the lights, don't worry. Good. So just settling into your meditation postures in puja. So first section, worship. With Mandarava, Blue Lotus and Jasmine.
with Mandarava, blue lotus and jasmine,
with all flowers pleasing and fragrant,
with all flowers pleasing and fragrant,
and with garlands skillfully woven,
and with garlands skillfully woven.
I pay honour to the princes of the sages,
I pay honour to the princes of the sages,
so worthy of veneration.
so worthy of veneration.
I envelop them in clouds of incense,
I envelop them in clouds of incense,
sweet and penetrating.
sweet and penetrating.
I make them offerings of food, hard and soft,
I make them offerings of food, hard and soft,
and pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
and pleasing kinds of liquids to drink.
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels,
I offer them lamps encrusted with jewels,
festooned with golden lotus,
festooned with golden lotus,
on the paving sprinkled with perfume.
on the paving sprinkled with perfume.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
I scatter handfuls of beautiful flowers.
Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni
Om
Salutation. As many atoms as there are.
As many atoms as there are.
In the 1,000 million worlds.
In the 1,000 million worlds.
So many times I make reverent salutation.
So many times I make reverent salutation.
To all the Buddhas of the 3 eras.
To all the Buddhas of the 3 eras.
To the Siddharma.
To the Siddharma.
And to the excellent community.
And to the excellent community.
I pay homage to all the shrines.
I pay homage to all the shrines.
And places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
And places in which the Bodhisattvas have been.
I make profound obeisance to the teachers.
I make profound obeisance to the teachers.
And those to whom respectful salutation is due.
And those to whom respectful salutation is due.
Going for refuge. This very day.
This very day.
I go for my refuge.
I go for my refuge.
To the powerful protectors.
To the powerful protectors.
Whose purpose is to guard the universe.
Whose purpose is to guard the universe.
The mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
The mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
In the Dharma they have ascertained.
In the Dharma they have ascertained.
Which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Likewise in the host of bodhisattvas.
Likewise in the host of bodhisattvas.
I take my refuge.
I take my refuge.
So we've now come to heart of our evening, where our 14 friends are going to become Mitras. So I'll call out your names one by one, and you'll make the 3 traditional offerings. And this ceremony, versions of this ceremony, are going for the thousands of years. So we're joining a very sort of noble tradition. So you'll offer the candle, which represents the Buddha, the idol of enlightenment, represents growth and potential. You'll then offer the flower, which represents the Dharma, the teachings, the pathway, the practices, and going towards truth, realizing truth for oneself. And you'll represent the incense, which represents the Sangha. You'll offer the incense, which represents the Sangha. The spiritual community, the ideal of spiritual community, realised beings that we can learn from. And also the incense represents the kind of atmosphere that happens when you have people gathering around noble values. So we'll start with Alara. Annie. Clemence. Ed. Irene. Yeah. Luke. Gee. And Talib. So how wonderful. We now have 14 new Buddhists in the world committed to discovering more and more about the Buddhist path in community. You've all had your very unique journeys here to get to this point, with your particular challenges and your particular triumphs. And I'm delighted as chair of the London Buddhist Centre to witness your becoming Mitras, and for all of us here to sort of lovingly and mindfully witness you. And I'm doing that on behalf of London Buddhist Centre, but also on behalf of all the centres, the Triratna centres in the world. You'd now be welcomed as a friend, as a Mitra, to any centre that you wanted to connect with. So that's wonderful too. We're going to mark this occasion, this auspicious occasion of having 14 new Buddhists in the world by 3 hearty sadhus. And sadhu is fantastic. Well done. Congratulations.
Sadhu! Sadhu! Sadhu!
Refugees and precepts in call and response. Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dharmam saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddham saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddham saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dharmam saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammam saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sangham saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sangham saranang gacchami.
Anatipata.
Anatipata.
Vedamani.
Vedamani.
Sikkapadam.
Sikkapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Adinadana.
Adinadana.
Vedamani.
Vedamani.
Sikkapadam.
Sikkapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Kamesu.
Kamesu.
Nechachara.
Nechachara.
Vedamani.
Vedamani.
Sikkapadam.
Sikkapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Musavada.
Musavada.
Vedamani.
Vedamani.
Sikkapadam.
Sikkapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Suramirya.
Suramirya.
Majja.
Majja.
Pamadatana.
Pamadatana.
Vedamani.
Vedamani.
Sikkapadam.
Sikkapadam.
Samadhyami.
Samadhyami.
Sadhu. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. With deeds of loving kindness,
with deeds of loving kindness,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With open-handed generosity,
with open-handed generosity,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness,
with stillness,
simplicity,
simplicity,
and contentment,
and contentment,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With truthful communication,
with truthful communication,
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech.
With mindfulness clear and radiant,
with mindfulness clear and radiant,
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
Confession of faults. The evil that I have heaped up,
the evil that I have heaped up,
through my ignorance and foolishness,
through my ignorance and foolishness,
evil in the world of everyday experience,
evil in the world of everyday experience,
as well as evil in understanding and intelligence,
as well as evil in understanding and intelligence.
All that I acknowledge to the protectors,
all that I acknowledge to the protectors,
standing before them,
with
hands raised in reverence,
with hands raised in reverence,
and terrified of suffering. I pay salutations again and again.
I pay salutations again and again.
May the leaders receive this kindly,
May the leaders receive this kindly,
just as it is,
with
its many faults.
What
is not good, O protectors,
what is not good, O protectors,
I shall not do again.
I shall not do again.
Rejoicing in merit. I rejoice with delight.
I rejoice with delight
In the good done by all beings,
in the good done by all beings,
through which they obtain rest,
through which they obtain rest,
with the end of suffering.
with the end of suffering.
May those who have suffered be happy.
May those who have suffered be happy.
I rejoice in the release of beings
I rejoice in the release of beings
from the sufferings of the rounds of existence.
from the sufferings of the rounds of existence.
I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva
I rejoice in the nature of the Bodhisattva
and the Buddha, who are protectors.
who are protectors.
I rejoice in the arising of the will to enlightenment
I rejoice in the arising of the will to enlightenment
and the teaching, those oceans that bring happiness to all beings,
those oceans that bring happiness to all beings,
and are the abode of welfare of all beings.
and are the abode of welfare of all beings.
Entreaty and supplication. Saluting them with folded hands.
Saluting them with folded hands,
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
I entreat the Buddhas in all the quarters.
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma
May they make shine the lamp of the Dharma
for those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
for those wandering in the suffering of delusion.
With hands folded in reverence,
With hands folded in reverence,
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter Nirvana.
I implore the conquerors desiring to enter Nirvana.
May they remain here for endless ages,
May they remain here for endless ages,
so that life in this world does not grow dark.
so that life in this world does not grow dark.
The Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of compassion,
When he meditated deeply, saw the emptiness of all five skandhas,
and sundered the bonds that caused him suffering.
here then, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is only emptiness, emptiness only form. Feeling, thought and choice, consciousness itself, are the same as this. All things are by nature void. They are not born or destroyed, nor are they stained or pure, nor do they wax or wane. So, in emptiness, no form, no feeling, thought or choice, nor is there consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no colour, sound, smell, taste, touch, or what the mind takes hold of, nor even an act of sensing, no ignorance or end of it, nor all that comes of ignorance, no withering, no death, no end of them, nor is there pain or cause of pain, or cease in pain or noble path to lead from pain, not even wisdom to attain. Attainment too is emptiness. So know that the Bodhisattva, holding to nothing whatever, but dwelling in prajna wisdom, is freed of delusive hindrance, rid of the fear bred by it, and reaches clearest nirvana. All Buddhas of past and present, Buddhas of future time, using this prajna wisdom, come to full and perfect vision. Hear then the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantra, the prajna paramita, whose words allay all pain. Hear and believe its truth. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhi swaha. Transference of merit and self-surrender. May the merit gained. May the merit gained. In my acting thus. In my acting thus. Go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. My personality throughout my existences. My personality throughout my existences. My possessions. My possessions. And my merit in all three ways. And my merit in all three ways. I give up without regard to myself. I give up without regard to myself. For the benefit of all beings. For the benefit of all beings. Just as the earth and other elements. Just as the earth and other elements. Are serviceable in many ways. Are serviceable in many ways. To the infinite number of beings. To the infinite number of beings. Inhabiting limitless space. Inhabiting limitless space. So may I become. So may I become. That which maintains all beings. That which maintains all beings. Situated throughout space. Situated throughout space. So long as all have not attained. So long as all have not attained. To peace. To peace. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Marapachanadihi. Om Marapachanadihi. Om Marapachanadihi. Om Marapachanadihi. Om Marapachanadihi. Om Marapachanadihi. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Swaha. Om Amideva Hri. 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 Om Muni Muni. Om Muni Muni. Maha Muni. Maha Muni. Shakya Muni. Shakya Muni. Swaha. Swaha. Om Muni Muni. Om Muni Muni. Maha Muni. Maha Muni. Shakya Muni. Shakya Muni. Swaha. Swaha. Om Muni Muni. Om Muni Muni. Maha Muni. Maha Muni. Shakya Muni. Shakya Muni. Swaha. Swaha. Om Ahom. Om Ahom. Vajraguru Padma. Vajraguru Padma. Siddhi Hum. Siddhi Hum. Om Ahom. Om Ahom. Vajraguru Padma. Vajraguru Padma. Siddhi Hum. Siddhi Hum. Om Ahom. Om Ahom. Vajraguru Padma. Vajraguru Padma. Siddhi Hum. Siddhi Hum. Gate Gate Paragate. Gate Gate Paragate. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Gate Gate Paragate. Gate Gate Paragate. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Gate Gate Paragate. Gate Gate Paragate. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. 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 Shanti.
So your Sangha awaits you. Give you some presents and you come out. Thank you very much.
Sorry. I know, I was.